Hello YouTube, welcome back. So today's video I'll be going through the most commonly asked questions in terms of the gym and training that I've gotten as a coach the last few years. Number one is probably the most common and you've most likely seen it yourself on social media, but how do I lose my stomach fat, my lower belly fat, all that stuff? How do I get abs? And the honest question is, first of all, abs are made in the gym, revealed in the kitchen, and you cannot spot reduce body fat. So this isn't as much of a thing anymore. However, for years, up until maybe the last couple of years, it's not been too bad. But you would see people on social media, it still happens by the way, don't get me wrong, but you see people saying, oh, this is how you shred your ab fat, or this is how you get a six pack within a few weeks, whatever. All that's bullshit, right? So you can't spot reduce body fat. I always say to people, where's the first place you notice weight loss or fat loss? It's normally someone's face, you know? When you see someone after a few months and they've lost a bit of weight, you're like, holy shit, your face is looking slimmer. Do you train your face? No. So that should put things into perspective a bit. But basically, the short answer, how to get abs, is train them really hard in the gym like any other muscle group and progressively overload them, but have yourself in a calorie deficit with good quality food so that you're, kept satiated as much as possible. So you're losing that body fat while simultaneously building the muscles in your abs from all different planes. Okay, for example, hanging leg raises with weight. Okay, you have the cable ab crunch, abdominal machine crunch, you have side planks, stuff like that, which are actually effective and not just doing endless sit-ups. You can do a decline sit-up with weight. That's a really good exercise. But anyway, hopefully that answers the question. On to number two. So number two, what is the best training split? Not a concrete answer to this one. However, I will tell you what my favorite one is, and that is upper lower, because I've learned the last couple of years in particular how frequency and intensity is more important than volume. So you'll see people doing the bro split, chest one day, back the next day, arms the next day. Don't get me wrong, right? There's no split where you're just going to see zero results. Okay, you are working your muscles with the push-pull legs, with the upper lower, with the bro split. Okay, of course. But my favorite one is upper lower because the frequency is there. Okay, so you can do upper body 3 times in a week and legs twice a week, for example. Whereas if you're doing a push-pull legs, okay, and then you're doing, push-pull legs, push-pull, you're working your chest twice per week. Okay, your back twice per week, okay? And then you're training your legs once per week. With the upper lower, even with the same amount of volume, you're doing 3 upper body sessions, which is covering all bases of your upper body. And that's more frequent, okay? And if you're nailing intensity with your volume not being too high, you're managing fatigue, okay? So that's something I've learned, which has been really, really important the last couple of years. Frequency and intensity beats volume. More is not necessarily better. Sometimes less is more. Okay, so on to number 3. How often should I change my program? Another really good question. I actually spoke about this on my Instagram story yesterday, which I'll link my profile down below. But the biggest mistake people make is doing a program for 8, 10, 12 weeks and thinking then it needs to be switched up, even though they are still progressing. Okay, so the current program that I'm running, upper lower, is working really well for me. I've been doing it for 2 months. Okay, I'm going to continue that and rinse it for as long as possible until I need to make changes. Okay, and then I'll make that call myself because I'm currently self-coaching. Okay, but if you have a coach yourself, it'll be up to them to make that call. Okay, based on, are you plateauing on particular movements? Is the enjoyment there anymore? Are you connecting with certain movements anymore? Okay, certain changes may need to be made, but not necessarily the full program. But if you do get to a point where stagnations are far too frequent, then a switch up might be needed, or else just a deload before you go back to normality the next week. But let me get one thing straight. You should not be stopping a program if you are still progressing with the lifts. Okay, if it's not broke, do not fix it. End of story. On to the next question. Do I need to do more cardio in order to be more shredded? A huge misconception in the fitness industry, which is still quite common, to be honest. The short answer is no, but let me elaborate. Cardio is there as a tool to increase expenditure and help your deficit if you are in a fat loss phase. But I would not be ramping it up towards the start, but rather towards the end, okay, of your cutting phase. So I'd actually start with just focusing on steps, maybe light cardio. But if you are just entering into a fat loss phase, do not be hammering down cardio, because ultimately that will be less sustainable. So focus on hitting a step goal of 7 to 8K minimum, for example, ideally 10,000 to 12,000-ish. But if you're currently having, if you're currently getting 4 to 5,000, that is unrealistic. So start with 7 or 8 and build yourself up, okay? Maybe having some incline treadmill walking in your week, 2 or 3 times per week, is a good way to start also, but I would never start off with, 2 10K runs per week or doing the Stairmaster straight off the bat. It's not a good idea whatsoever. Start small, but focus more on your step count, and then focus on your strength in the gym and performance, and the rest is all nutrition. I'll leave it at 4 questions today, folks, but if you drop a like, I will do another one of these. Much appreciated if you have watched this far. Subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.